Chapter 1: The Deserted Road. The night was shrouded in darkness as Alex walked along the edge of the deserted road. A heavy backpack rested on his shoulders, indicating a solitary journey from one place to another. The moon, veiled by dark clouds, cast only fragments of light on the road, creating shadows that danced to the rhythm of the night wind. It was when the headlights of a car appeared on the horizon. The distant sound of the engine increased as the vehicle approached, finally revealing its shape as it navigated a curve. It was a large, dirty black sedan gliding down the road. The decision to accept a ride from a stranger could be considered risky, but Alex, tired of the loneliness of the road, extended his thumb as the car approached. The passenger window lowered slowly, revealing the face of a middle-aged man dressed strangely, as if he were going camping. "Hello, fellow traveler. Where are you headed?" asked the man, his voice polite but with a touch of mystery. "Anywhere that takes me away from here for a while." "Where are you going?" replied Alex, maintaining a cautious tone. "I'm heading towards Springville. I can take you there if you're willing to share the road with me." Springville was on Alex's route, and the prospect of a faster journey tempted him to accept the offer. He opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat, feeling the cold air conditioning contrasting with the night breeze. The man reached out. "I'm Edward Blackwood, but you can call me Ed." "Alex." "Nice to meet you, Ed." Formalities were exchanged, but there was something in Ed's eyes that made Alex uneasy. The road stretched ahead, illuminated only by the car's headlights. A casual conversation started, but Alex noticed that Ed seemed to know more about him than he should. Questions about his life, family, and even hobbies were asked so precisely that it was as if Ed had access to personal information. "Do you travel a lot, Alex?" asked Ed, his smile friendly, but there was something behind it that intrigued Alex. "Yeah, occasionally. It's good to get out, you know. Explore new places, meet people." Ed nodded, but his eyes remained fixed on the road. The conversation continued, but the feeling of discomfort grew within Alex. The road narrowed, surrounded by a dense forest, as the wind whispered through the leaves, creating a dark soundtrack for the night. "Have you ever wondered about the choices we make in life?" Alex asked Ed, his tone now carrying an unexpected gravity. "I suppose so. Sometimes, choices can lead us to unexpected places." "Choices, yes, decisions that shape our destiny." Ed seemed to delve into deep thoughts, and the suspense in his voice did not go unnoticed by Alex. The road became more winding, and the forest around them seemed to close in. Ed suggested a detour through a less-traveled trail, claiming it would save time. "I'm fine with the main road, Ed. No need for detours right now." Ed smiled, but his eyes remained serious. "Alex, sometimes it takes choosing the unconventional path to find what we truly seek." The suspense increased, and Alex began to question the decision to get into the car. The forest seemed denser, and the shadows more menacing as they advanced along the narrow trail. The road became a dark corridor, with the only illumination coming from the car's headlights. "Ed, I think I'd prefer to go back to the main road. This is getting strange." Ed chuckled softly. "Don't worry, Alex. Sometimes, you have to plunge into the darkness to find the light." It was then that Alex, instinctively, spotted a distant light on the main road. A lit-up town offering a possible exit. "Ed, stop the car. I'll walk from here." Ed agreed, but his eyes never left Alex as he got out of the car and walked toward the distant light. The deserted road turned into a shadowy maze of choices, and suspense hung over Alex like a looming shadow, leaving him wondering about the mysterious ride he had accepted that night. Chapter 2: Shadows in the Night. Alex advanced along the deserted road, his steps echoing in the silent night. The distant city lights cast a promise of safety, but the darkness around created doubts and insecurities. The sound of Ed's car engine gradually faded away, leaving him alone with his thoughts on the dim trail. The illuminated city was closer than he had imagined, but the tree shadows and the density of the surrounding forest continued to evoke a sense of unease. Alex felt as if he were being watched, his senses heightened by the feeling of impending danger. As he approached the city lights, he noticed a rusty sign indicating Wellington Falls. The sight of a tranquil town should have brought relief, but something didn't seem right. The streets were empty, and the lamppost lights seemed to flicker as if the city were in a state of suspension. Upon entering Wellington Falls, Alex realized that the houses, though lit, appeared empty. Curtains waved in the windows, but there was no movement in the streets. A sense of desolation enveloped the town, and suspense grew with each step he took. While exploring the main street, Alex noticed a still-open cafe. Dim light leaked through the windows, and the distant sound of a radio playing soft music escaped into the night. Pushing the door, he entered, hoping to find answers to the strange atmosphere surrounding Wellington Falls. "Good evening, can I help you?" said a woman behind the counter. However, her eyes seemed to reflect a mix of surprise and caution. "Good evening. I'm just passing through. The town seems a bit deserted, don't you think?" Alex replied, trying to conceal the tension in his voice. The woman smiled, but her eyes remained suspicious. "Well, we don't get many visitors around here. What's your name?" "Alex." "And yours?" "I'm Rebecca. If you need anything, I'll be around." The dialogue was friendly, but the shadows of Wellington Falls seemed to hover over every exchanged word. Alex decided to explore a bit more before returning to the deserted road. While strolling through the empty streets, he noticed a small library with a slightly ajar door. Curious, Alex entered, hoping to find some sign of life or information about the town. However, the silence inside the library was almost deafening. As he examined the dusty shelves, an old photo caught his attention. It was a black-and-white portrait of a smiling family, but something was off. Behind the family, barely visible, was a dark figure that seemed out of place in the photo. "Interesting, isn't it?" said a voice from an adjacent room. Alex turned to find a middle-aged man, dressed formally. "This photo has a story of its own." "Who are you?" Alex asked, his distrust growing. "Call me Mr. Grayson. I'm one of the few residents still left in Wellington Falls." The conversation with Mr. Grayson revealed fragments of the town's dark history. A decade ago, a tragedy had struck Wellington Falls, taking away much of the population. Since then, the town remained frozen in time, as if mourning still held it captive. Mr. Grayson's story had gaps, and Alex began to wonder about the connection between Wellington Falls and Ed's ride. The revelation that Ed was also from the town shed new light on the puzzle. Alex felt entangled in events that transcended his understanding. As he left the library, the silent town seemed to have a more piercing gaze, as if aware of Alex's intrusive presence. The suspense increased, and the night that had started with the promise of a quick ride now turned into a complex web of mysteries. Back on the main street, Alex noticed that Wellington Falls seemed to resist the passage of time, but not in an aged way. It was as if the clock had stopped on the night of the tragedy, leaving the town frozen in perpetual darkness. Approaching the town's exit, he saw the silhouette of Ed's car in the distance, as if patiently waiting on the deserted road. The sight of the vehicle brought forth unanswered questions, and suspense grew as Alex faced the choice of staying in Wellington Falls or returning to the road with Ed. The night, once filled with promises of a common ride, had turned into a sinister journey into the unknown. The deserted road awaited, along with the secrets surrounding Wellington Falls. Alex felt like an involuntary character in a game of shadows, where each choice led him deeper into the unfathomable mysteries of the town frozen in time. Chapter 3: The Night Confrontation. The exit from Wellington Falls brought relief to Alex, but the distant glow of Ed's car cast a shadow over his escape. The deserted road stretched ahead, now shrouded in profound darkness, and the suspense continued to reverberate in Alex's mind. Approaching the black vehicle, he noticed Ed patiently waiting inside, with a smile that carried a mix of hospitality and mystery. The wind whispered through the leaves, creating an unsettling soundtrack for the imminent encounter. "Alex, my friend, I hope you enjoyed the brief visit to Wellington Falls," said Ed, his voice maintaining a superficial serenity. Cautiously, Alex replied, "It was a peculiar town, full of mysteries." "You're from there, aren't you?" Ed nodded. "Yes, I was born and raised there. But the past is the past. Now, we have a long road ahead." Suspense hung in the air as the car moved through the darkness. The conversation resumed, but Alex's mind was filled with questions. He felt like a detective amidst an intriguing puzzle, with each piece revealing more about Ed and Wellington Falls. As the road stretched on, Ed began to share stories about the town. Tales of a simple life that, nevertheless, contained gaps and omissions. It was as if the past were being carefully manipulated to conceal deeper secrets. "Have you ever wondered about the choices we make, Alex? The decisions that shape our destinies?" asked Ed, echoing the words he had spoken in the town. "I have, especially when choices seem to lead to unexpected places," replied Alex, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Ed glanced briefly at Alex, his eyes gleaming in the darkness of the car. "Sometimes, to find what we desire, we need to take unexpected paths. Like Wellington Falls, for example." Suspense increased when Ed mentioned the town, and Alex felt a chill run down his spine. The vehicle advanced, but the discomfort persisted. The forest around seemed denser, as if witnessing the unfolding of a sinister plot. "Why did you take me there, Ed? And what really happened in Wellington Falls?" questioned Alex, his voice laden with urgency. Ed remained silent for a moment, as if pondering what to share. "Wellington Falls is a special place, full of memories and shadows. I thought you might appreciate the visit." Ed's response did not clarify Alex's doubts, it only deepened the mystery. The deserted road stretched ahead, with only the car headlights breaking the darkness. Suddenly, Ed diverted the conversation, as if wanting to steer Alex away from uncomfortable questions. He talked about the weather, the beauty of the night, and the challenges of traveling. The car advanced in a dance of evasive words, and suspense heightened with each mile traveled. Tension filled the air as the vehicle slowed down, approaching a more isolated area of the road. Alex's heart raced, his intuition warning him of imminent danger. That's when he spotted a distant light, similar to the one he had seen in Wellington Falls. "Ed, stop the car," commanded Alex, his voice urgent. Ed, with an enigmatic smile, ignored the request and continued driving towards the light. Suspense reached its peak, and Alex felt a growing urgency to escape the situation. In a desperate impulse, he opened the car door and threw himself out, rolling on the rough asphalt to avoid being dragged into the darkness. The distant light revealed itself to be the lantern of a gas station, an isolated spot on the deserted road. Alex, injured and breathless, looked back to see Ed's car halted, headlights illuminating the darkness like watchful eyes. "You can't escape, Alex." "The journey is not over yet," said Ed, his voice carrying a veiled threat. With the gas station lantern as his guide, Alex moved away from Ed's car, determined to find answers and escape the shadows that surrounded him. The deserted road, now lonelier than ever, stretched ahead, revealing an uncertain path where each choice carried the weight of suspense. Chapter 4: On the Threshold of Shadows. The rough asphalt stung Alex's fingers as he distanced himself from Ed's car. The gas station lantern was his sole guide in the growing darkness, illuminating an empty road that seemed to lead nowhere. The dull pain from his wounds reminded him of the harsh reality of the ominous night he faced. The gas station ahead was shrouded in silence. Motionless gas pumps and an abandoned store created a desolate scene. The faint light from the sign flickered, as if reluctant to reveal the secret the place concealed. As Alex approached, he noticed a solitary figure in the fueling area. It was an elderly woman, weathered by time, with eyes that seemed to hold untold stories. Her name was Evelyn, the sole remaining resident of the once thriving gas station. "Are you lost, son?" asked Evelyn, her voice creaking like old doors. Alex hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Not exactly lost, just trying to understand some things." "Do you live here alone?" Evelyn sighed, gazing into the distant horizon. "There was a time when this road was bustling, filled with travelers in search of stories and destinations. But now, loneliness is my only companion." The conversation with Evelyn revealed details about the gas station's past and the deserted road. Wellington Falls, though forgotten by time, still exerted a mysterious influence over the region. Evelyn, with eyes filled with sorrow, spoke of the shadows that lingered over the town and the road, an echo of events haunting memories. As the night advanced, Evelyn offered Alex a place to rest in the small house next to the gas station. He accepted, grateful for a break in the quest for answers. As he entered the modest home, suspense still hung in the air, as if the environment itself was saturated with the mystery of the deserted road. Evelyn's house was a time capsule, filled with old photographs and memories of happier times. However, Alex noticed that some pictures contained obscure figures, similar to those he had seen in Wellington Falls. It was as if the shadow of the town was stretching to that place. As night fell, Alex decided to explore the surroundings of the gas station, still in search of answers. The deserted road was now plunged into darkness, and only the dim light of the gas station lamp cast dancing shadows in rhythm with the night wind. That's when he spotted something strange at the entrance of the adjacent forest. An indistinct silhouette moving among the trees, a shadow that seemed to have a life of its own. Suspense reached a new peak, and Alex, instinctively, moved toward the darkness of the woods. The winding path led him to a dark clearing, where the silhouette of a familiar figure stood out. It was Ed, the mysterious man who had brought him to Wellington Falls. However, his posture now exuded a different aura, a combination of a sly smile and a penetrating gaze. "You seem to have a special talent for finding trouble, Alex," said Ed, his voice calm and calculated. Cautious, Alex retorted, "You have a peculiar way of bringing trouble near me." "What's happening here, Ed?" Ed smiled, as if enjoying Alex's discomfort. "Wellington Falls is a town of secrets, and I've just decided to share some of them with you. It's fascinating how the choices we make can lead to such interesting places." Suspense hung in the air as Ed elaborated on the town's history. He revealed that, years ago, Wellington Falls had been a prosperous place until a series of dark events plunged it into decline. Now, the town remained a ruin of its past, a reflection of misguided choices and distorted destinies. As Ed spoke, Alex realized that each word was carefully chosen, and the feeling that there was something more between the lines haunted him. He questioned Ed's motivations, suspicious that the mysterious man was involved in something much more sinister than he admitted. "Do you think you're in control, Alex?" asked Ed, his piercing gaze fixed on Alex's eyes. "The deserted road is full of choices, but you're not always the one making them." The conversation subtly transformed into a cat-and-mouse game, with Ed manipulating the narrative, leaving Alex in a maze of doubts. Suspense reached its peak when Ed proposed a challenge, a choice that could change the course of the night and, perhaps, the entire journey for Alex. "You can return to the deserted road, or you can delve deeper into the secrets of Wellington Falls. The decision is yours, Alex, but the consequences are inevitable." Tension increased as Ed walked away, leaving Alex in the dark clearing. The night was now a tapestry of uncertainties, and each choice was laden with unknown risks. Deciding to confront the mysteries of Wellington Falls, Alex advanced through the ruined town, guided only by the moonlight and the distant flashes of the gas station lamp. Each corner revealed more secrets, more traces of past choices that still echoed in the shadows of the town. Chapter 5: The Labyrinth of Deceit. As Alex ventured into the secluded part of Wellington Falls, he encountered something that made him question his own decisions. All the houses stood empty, with no signs of life in the silent streets. The only sound was a haunting echo, as if chains were being dragged, emanating from an old building that resembled an abandoned theater. There, Alex noticed traces of blood on the ground, as if something had been dragged into the old theater. Darkness shrouded the entrance, prompting Alex to retrieve his flashlight from his backpack and venture inside. Entering a vast open space, what used to be rows of seats with a grand stage ahead, Alex heard Ed's voice in the distance, enjoying the ambience. "My friend? I took the liberty of preparing it especially for you." Alex then heard the doors of the building close, and familiar faces emerged from the shadows. It was the attendant, Rebecca, and the mysterious man he had conversed with in the old library, Mr. Grayson, both casting sinister glances at Alex. Alex found himself ensnared in something larger than he had imagined. From the road trip to this moment, everything seemed orchestrated, a trap designed for him to fall into this horrendous scheme. In a sudden burst of courage, Alex questioned their plans for him. Ed, emerging from behind the red curtains of the stage, explained his macabre purpose. "Our town no longer provides as much entertainment as it used to. I suppose we went a bit too far that night, didn't we, folks?" referring to a past event. "Now that everyone has left this town, we have to make do with these unsuspecting passers-by. But we won't be impolite, we'll give our young friend a chance to hide." With a sadistic laugh, they armed themselves with torture devices resembling arrow launchers, knives, and chains modified with wires. In a moment of immense tension and adrenaline, Alex, realizing his life hung by a thread, ran for the nearest door and sought every possible means to find an exit from the old theater, knowing his life was on the line. After traversing a corridor, Alex spotted a small window above some wooden crates. As he attempted to pass through it, the man from the library shot an arrow into his leg. Despite the immense pain, Alex persisted and managed to leap through the window, seeking refuge in an abandoned residence nearby. Even as he endured excruciating pain, Alex tried his best to remain silent, realizing that he needed to avoid discovery. Slowly moving within the house, he noticed crude traps in the corners and on the floor, rustic devices, like a primitive torture chamber. It became clear that the entire place had been prepared as the sadistic playground for Ed's group. Alex proceeded to the garage of the house and discovered an old vehicle parked there. He contemplated whether this could be his escape from the hellish situation. Limping towards the vehicle, he scrutinized it thoroughly to ensure it wasn't another trap. Suddenly, he heard the noise of the door inside the house opening, and footsteps approaching. Alex quickly hid in the back seat of the vehicle, waiting. After a few moments, he found the car key under the seat and gambled everything on the vehicle that could be his salvation. Turning the key, the engine seemed hesitant, but he needed to persist. With the noise of his attempts, Ed's group rushed towards him, opening the garage door. After one last attempt, Alex managed to start the vehicle and accelerated out of the garage, running over Rebecca and speeding as fast as he could out of the town. Despite the adrenaline, Alex now felt a certain relief for escaping the hellish situation. After a few minutes on the deserted road, with only the car headlights illuminating the path ahead, he saw a distant headlight in the rearview mirror, approaching. It was Ed in his pickup truck, hunting for his escaped prey. At this moment, Alex found himself once again fighting for his life and accelerated as much as he could to escape. However, Ed collided with the back of Alex's vehicle, causing him to lose control. Alex decided to risk it all, positioning himself side by side with Ed's truck, then ramming his car into Ed's, sending both vehicles off the road, flipping in the open field, and then everything went dark. After hearing the voices of people talking beside him, Alex woke up. His vision was severely affected by the dizziness from the collision, daylight glaring in his eyes. He realized that hours had passed since the accident he had caused. After being extracted with the help of police officers and curious onlookers, he wondered about Ed's whereabouts. His question was answered by the sergeant interviewing him, saying that only he was found in the accident, and the other vehicle had only bloodstains, but no one inside. Alex was then taken to the nearest hospital to recover and provide a more detailed account of the incident. From that point on, despite being frightened about where his pursuer might be, Alex felt more relieved to be surrounded by people. And so concludes this macabre pursuit. Alex recovers and, with the help of the sergeant who rescued him, is taken back to his town, reuniting with his family.